So what's up guys, Nate here from Coding with Nate, and we're back with another video. In this video, you might see that I am not yet in Scratch, and that is because I am doing a Make Your First Project in Scratch video. So I'm going to be teaching how to get into Scratch, how to sign up, and just how to make your first project. So with that, let's get right into it. First thing you want to do, you want to go to your Safari, Google, Firefox, whatever you have, and then you want to do Scratch, and then you want to do a .mit.edu. Alright, and then you press enter. It should search it up, and you should be in Scratch. Alrighty. So, once you're in Scratch, you should be signed in. There should be a button that says create, or there should be one that says join Scratch right up here. So if you want to sign into Scratch, you can press join Scratch. It's really easy. You just need an email and have your Scratch account. You can do some awesome stuff like save your project and share your projects. But if you don't really want to sign in and you just want to learn Scratch, see if you like it or not, what you can do is you go to create. Alright, so I'm just going to try to explain like the basic movements and some stuff to make this game better. So this is where you can name your sprite in this. Let's name it player, because it'll be the main player for our game. Alright, and then if you go over here, this is where we can choose a backdrop. So if we go to choose a backdrop, we can choose one of these. Or we can do this. We can do backdrop, and then we can do paint, and we can draw our own backdrop. But I think this time I'm just going to choose a backdrop. Let's make it, this one's pretty cool. Let's do boardwalk. Alright, so now we got our sprite. Once again, you can also go to, here, you know what I'll do? We don't need the Scratch sprite. We can either choose a sprite or we can paint a sprite. This time I'm going to try to paint a sprite. So I can go into the square, and I'll get a gray square. So this is vector, and this is bitmap. So right now we're in vector. So vector vector lets you create all kinds of shapes. So you can go, if for some reason you would ever need that, you can make all these crazy shapes with vector. Alright? And then with bitmap, this is basically pixel art, and you can only really have squares. So if I go to bitmap, it'll make it all pixely. And when I try to use the drawing tool, it's just all pixely. So that's basically bitmap and vector. But yeah, so I am just gonna definitely clear all this because I don't want this being my main sprite. And so that's basically how like the Scratch drawing system works. Let's paint a sprite. Oh, not paint, sorry. Let's just choose our own sprite. Let's do the chick. Alright, so now we have our player sprite. We can rename this player. Alright, and now we are gonna make some code. So, basically how the Scratch starts to run is it runs off of a one green flag clicked. So, this green flag up here, when that's clicked, if you have this, then it should run all of your code. You're going to drag the one green flag clicked in, and then these are the control loops. So this is where you can get your wait seconds. You can get it to repeat code. You can grab a forever block, which is what we'll need, and then we can grab some if blocks, if else's, and grab wait untils, repeat untils, and stops and clones. So we're also going to grab an if and put that in there. Now we're going to go down to sensing. And this is where we can do like collision and which keys the character's playing and if it's clicking and all that. So for this one, we're going to do an if key up arrow is pressed. We're going to go up to motion. And we are going to change X by whatever you want. So we'll do 5 for here. Alright, so what the X is, so X is basically Scratch's movement system. So it starts at a grid in the middle. As you can see, we can go to 0, 0 at the start. So if we go to 0, 0, if it's up here, it'll automatically find the center. So this is 0, 0. Now if we say go to x 50, y 0, it'll move right 50 pixels. If you do go to x negative 50, it'll go left negative 50 pixels. Alright, so let's set this back to 0. And then now we can talk about the y. So this is up and down. So if you change y by 50, or set y to 50, it'll go up 50y pixels. If we do y negative 50, it'll go down negative 50y pixels. Alright, so we're just going to have it set to 0, 0 at the start of the game. Oh, we're going to change y by 5 when key up arrow is pressed because it's going up. Alright, and now, a very useful tip. If you go into your thing, if you press left click and then duplicate, you can duplicate the code that you already had. So we're going to make this down arrow, and we're going to change y by negative 5. So this will make it go down. Now we're going to the top, we're going to do duplicate, we're going to drag that in there, and do if key right arrow, and now we are going to do change x by 5. And now we're going to do if key left arrow, change x by negative 5. Alright, so now, if I play the game, our character should be able to move when we press the arrow keys. Perfect. Alright, so now, we're going to make the objective. So, we're going to choose a sprite. Let's see if there's any eggs for the chick. Alright, egg. Perfect. So, the goal of the game is to collect the egg. So, we're going to do this code. We're going to do, my green flag is clicked. And then we're going to do go to random position. So that'll go anywhere. And then we're going to grab a wait until block. And this will just wait until something happens. So we're going to go into sensing, and we're going to grab the touching mouse pointer, and then we're going to change this to touching edge. So wait until it's touching edge, and then it can go to a random position again. Alright, so now, though, we want to make a variable. Alright, we're going to do we can grab a forever loop around that, and it'll do that. And then, so what we can do is we can create a variable. So variables are a way to like track scores and just numbers overall in the game. So we can make a variable by choosing make a variable. And then we can do score. So now you'll have an option to do for all sprites or for this sprite. So basically, do you want to use this variable in all of the sprites or just in this one? For score, we're going to do it in all the sprites. So I know that's okay. And now we have a score up in the top right. So at the start of the game, we can set score to 0. And every time it's touching the chick, we can change our score by 1. So then that number will change by 1 every time the chick touches the egg. So now, score 0, the chick can move around, but if it touches the egg, the score goes to 1, and the egg goes to a random position. Perfect. Alright. So now, we want to make a way for the game to end. So, we can make a timer. Basically, for the timer, we can do this in the player sprite. We are going to do another when green flag is clicked. We're going to wait however long you want. For this, let's do 60 seconds, so you have 1 minute. And then, we're going to broadcast a message. So we're going to broadcast times up. Alright, and now, we are going to hide the sprite, so this will make it not visible on the screen. We can also show at the start. Same thing in here. We can show at the start, and we can do a when I receive times up. We can make it hide. So what broadcasting this message does is, so basically, when this time is up, it'll broadcast a message, and then it'll send the message to every single sprite, and it'll know that the time is up. And then something will happen when the time is up. Alright, so we can add another backdrop, and we can make this backdrop one. We can just make a black square. Oh, so we can choose the square, and then we can just go like that. And then we can do, when green flag is clicked, you want to switch backdrop to boardwalk. And then when I receive time's up, switch backdrop to backdrop 1. Alright, so now we should have a game. So, if you signed in, or maybe if you didn't, I don't know, there should be a little save project. This will save your project, so that you won't have to risk losing all your progress in the project. As you can see, when we play the game, an egg that goes to a random position, and we can collect it, and our score will go up. Keep going to the egg. Then, once we play for a minute, here, for now, I'll make the timer just 15 seconds for the video, but now, when 15 seconds is up, I go black, that'll tell me my score up here, and I can play the game again. My score sets to 0, and I can play. Alright, perfect. So that's going to be it for a how to make your first Scratch game. On my channel, I also have more advanced tutorials if you want to learn how to make more complicated and, yeah, pretty much more complicated, more like, games where coding is a little bit harder. Make sure to check out some of my other videos. And yeah, with that, I'm Nate from Coding with Nate, and I'll see you in the next one.